looked at him and he gave me a big old hug. So it's beautiful. And Lord's Prayer is, for me, one of the strongest prayers, and I know it in Spanish and English.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? What do you? The mic's right there, over here. Yeah.
Well, the first thing Satan wants to do is he wants you to feel like you're the only one dealing with that. And he wants you to keep you hidden by yourself. He can torture you all he wants when it's in the dark and nobody knows about it. But when you bring light to it, it's the same thing with sin, the depression. Tell somebody that's close to you, like, I'm feeling this way. Another thing that jumps to mind is as y'all start reading the Bible, the book of Psalms is a great place for y'all to start, especially when you're learning how to pray, learning how to talk with God. You'll see when King David writes these songs to God, he'll admit where he's at with God. Like, God, my soul is clinging to the ground right now. I feel this way. But then he's like, but yet God, you're my tower. You're my refuge. You're who I go to. Your love encompasses me. So when you start declaring that truth, just like we sung the song this morning, you take off the garment of heaviness and you're actually putting on a garment of praise. Yep. There's something just about declaring who God is to you. Taking your mind off yourself and putting it on God. It just refreshes the soul.
Isaiah 61 says that there's a spirit of heaviness. And so sometimes when you're feeling depressed, like all of a sudden you just feel down, it's because a spirit of heaviness has come in from unforgiveness. So it's not just like, we could go to the doctor and they could say you're depressed and give you some medicine. Or you could ask the Lord, who do I need to forgive? Because that can really, so if you're not the type of person that would grab a cup and throw it through the window because you're mad, then you're going to suppress it. And as soon as you suppress it, then that can cause that yucky heaviness, and you just need to forgive.
How many of you guys like music? How many of you guys listen to secular music when you're sad? Don't lie to me. That's what I thought. It just does something to you, right? Like, you know that saying that goes, how does it say? Misery loves company? So you listen to this, like, right? But it just does something to you. But because this song is somehow expressing what you're feeling through it, right? So what I do when I'm depressed or when I feel like, I just want to kick someone in the face, seriously, you guys, instead of going to the secular, kick me when I'm down music, I literally go and turn on my worship music. It sounds so simple, but if it works for when you're depressed and you want to listen to whatever it is that you guys listen to now, it has the same reverse effect. Turn on your worship music, sit in that room, and cry like a baby. And after you're crying like a baby, you're going to soak in all the goodness of this worship music, and then before you know it, you're going to be praying, and you don't even know how the heck that happens. Don't make it complicated. It's just that simple. If you're easy to go to this specific song because your friend backstabbed you and there's a song about backstabbing, you're going to go straight to it. It's like, yeah, I know exactly how that feels. It's like, yeah. Well, then it's the same effect. You go, listen to worship music, and sit there, worship, praise, and then the Lord's just going to move right through that.
So what she said is something that I learned a year or so ago. And I knew it before, but I just didn't want to do it anymore. And that is listen to worship music. So, I can listen to 5 minutes of politics, and I'm going on depressed quick. And so I will turn on the Christian radio station that I listen to all the time, and it's true. It just takes you out of it if you can just bring it to yourself to do that.
Yes.
And just don't go to the 60s rock and roll and all that, which is cool. But go to some.
But you want to, but don't do it. Yeah.
But go to some Christian music that you like or that really helps you out. And it has helped me a lot. just to do that in the last year or so.
And going along with that, when you guys are talking about worship music, one of the questions that came in was, how do you know God is really meeting with you? How do you know that God is meeting with you? When you're in that worship music, you're feeling God's presence. How do you know that's God's presence and that that's God meeting with you?
So your garbage feelings start going away, and you just could really feel the presence of it. It doesn't happen immediately sometimes. You might have to do it for a little while, but I mean, and maybe read your Bible. But when you start going towards God, he's coming running. Every time. He's coming running. So he is very interested in every one of us and how we feel, and he knows that as Sheila said, it is Satan sending his little demons to try to cause us to go down that road.
The word says that God is near the brokenhearted. If you're already brokenhearted, you're already winning. The word says he is near the brokenhearted. And the thing is you know that he's there because the instant that he fills that place and fills that room. How many of you guys read the book of Psalms? That's what I thought. So when you read the book of Psalms, you listen to David. He sounds super depressing, dude. Like, he starts off like, I want to die and this and that. And he just keeps going down this list because he's expressing how he's feeling. And towards the end of it, he ends up praising God. He ends up giving all the honor, all the praise to him who lifts him up from the pit, from the mud. That's what he does. So you know that God enters that room the second that you're crying. Your sorrow turns into joy. Your mourning turns into dancing. And si no estoy diciendo bien, then I'm sorry. I'm just like, but you guys know what I'm saying. It just shifts everything. It just turns everything. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to feel better right away. But you have this sense of peace and knowing that God is doing something. Because a lot of the times we think, well, it should go away and it should just be gone completely. Well, yes, sometimes that does happen. But sometimes God is trying to take you through a process to show you something. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's always, I shouldn't say sometime, there is always a reason and a purpose for everything that we go through.
So you're worshiping God, right? And you're totally connecting with God. Mm-hmm. And then one of the questions that connects to that is, how do you keep that peace? So when you're done worshiping and you feel that peace, how do you keep it?
Well, the word says to pursue peace. Pursuing is something that you chase after. It just doesn't stay. You know, so the enemy is going to be constantly trying to steal that peace. He's going to be constantly trying to take that away from you. And the second that he does that, you go back to where you started. You go and pursue that peace because that's a constant battle. That's a constant tug of war. You can't expect peace to stay there. Again, the word is very clear. Pursue it. Seek it. Find it. Keep pursuing it.
To add on to that, John chapter 15, it talks about abiding in Jesus. Yep. So when you encounter the Lord and your time with the Lord in the morning, know that you can carry that with you. For those that are sons and daughters of God, you've been gifted with the Holy Spirit. So God put his very nature inside of you for you to carry him. So when you're walking to school, when you're on the school bus, you can just, you don't even have to say it out loud. Just set your mind and your heart upon God and just say, God, I set my mind on you and I set my mind on your goodness. Yep. Just know you can carry that with you. And also, there's a lot of people that don't even know how to describe God's presence. It's different for it's different for people and how they feel certain things. You don't have to feel the presence of God to know that he's there with you. Yep. The first thing is, the truth says that he's with us. Yep. Okay, so we stand on the word of God. So there's times when I'm praying in the morning and I'm just wanting to spend time with God. I don't feel his presence, but I know he's there with me. Absolutely. And when his presence does come, it's oh so beautiful. The other day, I just took 2 minutes. I had a busy day. Just sat at the end of my couch, kids yelling in the background, but I set my mind on God for 2 minutes and said, God, I thank you that I get to be your son. God, I thank you for the unconditional love that you continue to show me. And when I just set my mind on him, I would just describe his presence just wrapping me just with a blanket of his love. So just even setting your mind on God for 2 minutes, it helps.
Thanks. So I want to ask Annabelle the next question. How do I forgive people that have hurt me dearly?
I think when somebody hurts you, your instinct is just to kind of, lash out or, go talk about them to other people. But I think it's really important that you find someone that you can connect with and they can guide you through that process. I know for me, when something happened to me, I can't hide it very well, especially if I see my mom. So when something happened and I look at my mom, I just start crying because I knew that I needed to forgive someone and I didn't really quite know how to do it. So she would mentor me and she would walk me through how to forgive someone and if they hurt me, and even sometimes forgiving myself, because I felt like if this person did this to me, maybe I did something wrong or I messed up. So it is a big process of forgiving them, but also forgiving yourself.
So what if it's something that people keep doing again and again? If somebody keeps, you forgive them and they do it again, and you forgive them and they do it again, and they forgive them and you do it again, how does that work?
Oh, it's on. Okay. One of the things that I've learned, and I've actually learned this that was a couple years back, but not too long ago, is to ask God first and foremost to help you love like He loves. Period. If you don't love people like the way that He loves them, then it's impossible for you to forgive anyone. It's just, again, that simple. Another thing too is that ask God to help you see them like He sees them. To help you see this person that keeps hurting you over and over and over through His eyes. And it'll be a whole lot simpler to continue to forgive them. Otherwise, we're just going to keep holding on to the bitterness and all the ugly that they continue to do to us, and we won't be able to forgive them. So that's what the Lord has taught me.
Yeah, one more thing is if someone keeps doing the same thing over and over again, then you need to learn to communicate. And so you tell them, I have to say that when you say this thing over and over again, it really hurts me, and I need you to stop. And then if they don't stop, you could even warn them, if you do not stop, this is going to affect our relationship. And that's just clear communication. Many of us haven't learned in our families to communicate. And I talk to a lot of young people, and they say, I don't tell my parents what I think. Like, for one thing, my parents are already stressed out, or their parents don't care, or they get mad. But we have to still learn to communicate and face that fear and communicate, because it's going to work well for your job later. If you get a job, it's going to work better for your spouse. It's going to work better for your friendships. Learn to even with a teacher. And communicating, just learning to communicate will be the best thing.
Come on now.
Okay, so another question is, what if I can't seem to forgive them? I'm not sure how to add context to that.
You'll have to think about, I was going to make a joke, but I don't think I should make a joke. So make a murder plan. No, I'm teasing. Then you have a prison ministry, the whole thing. No, I'm teasing. Okay. So what was the question?
What if I can't seem to forgive them?
If you can't seem to forgive them, then you need to put some boundaries and not have the relationship. And you need to get right with the Lord. I like what Winnie said, seeing people through Jesus' eyes. But if you really can't, you need to put some space between. Because boundaries, what I learned is boundaries wasn't about me putting it up for the other person. Like, I'm putting these boundaries up. It was like boundaries protected me. So when I put those boundaries up, it was over my own mental health if someone's literally not going to stop. The boundaries were for me. The boundaries are for you. So in a relationship where there are relationships where someone kind of picks on you, or they make these comments, or they kind of put you down. They're number one and you're number two, and they put you down. Well, if that's going to continue, you're going to need to put some boundaries. And eventually you can forgive them, but you really do need to put some space between those people that do that. And we all have had people that do that in our life, and they just kind of put us down. I think it's the way they feel better about themselves. Did you have something to add, sir?
Yeah, so we were talking about this with Dora, my wife. She told me about forgiveness, big thing. Matthew 18, 21, 22. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 70 times. So, I mean, sometimes we, like you said, we have to have boundaries, you know. But you also, as this person, like myself, for example, I was one of those guys that would shut down and would not open any door. Like, it's my way, and the door was shut, and that was it. But, you know, you have to forgive, and you have to learn how to forgive other people, and how to forgive yourself, especially. That's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, forgiveness is a big topic, and it takes a lot to work out in your life. But let me just quickly, I know we might come back to more questions on forgiveness, but I want to move on to a question about character and authenticity. So I was going to ask Johnny this question. What is it okay to be cool with things around my friends?
Is it okay to what?
Is it okay to be cool around my friends?
Cool.
Like, I'm with my friends, right? And
Yeah.
so I think what the question is asking is, if I'm hanging out with my friends and I'm just going to be cool, I don't really have to be Jesus thing. I can just be cool and just kind of like chill with them and just be with them.
Like trying to fit in a way that doesn't look like Christ-likeness.
I guess that's, you know.
Okay, because I was about to say Isaiah is cool. I like Isaiah. As far as I know, there's a lot of children here that go to public schools, and so you're trying to find that fine tension of, you know what, I'm a Christian, but at the same time, like I'm valuing other people even though they're not Christians. So I know there's Christians here that have friends that aren't Christians, and what's okay, what's not okay. So we need spirit-filled young men and women in schools, okay? So when you find yourself in that situation, God wants to put your light in the midst of darkness. So you can befriend people that aren't Christians and be a light, but at the same time, the things they're laughing at, you don't have to laugh at that. It's okay. I mean, if somebody's picking on somebody, this is big in schools. Like high school, middle school, like it's a kid's entire world. So be the light that actually walks up to the person who's by themselves and befriends a person that doesn't have a whole lot of friends. You don't, even though it may not look cool, you're hanging out with somebody like who may be lesser than what other people think. Like, this generation needs strong young men and women to not conform, but to be proud, to be a light. You know what? I gave my life to Jesus, and he changed my entire life. Fred, I don't care about what your thoughts are, that you may think that this earth came from nothing. Like, you were created for a relationship with God. And I want you to know that. And even though we have those disagreements,
Hello? Citizen Karen here. No. When was this information discovered? Are you reporting this now? Don't you care? You can't just, what? The spy master cannot awaken his sleeper spies among the agents. You can't, I gotta go, goodbye. All right, I have just received word that we are being infiltrated by spies. Keep on your guard. Most of you have been chosen as members of the other side by me, Citizen Karen. A handful of the people among you in this room have been turned by the spy master. Trust no one. They may be your friend, but we don't know who the spy master was able to reach. We will find out very soon.
Fortify selected spies. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to plant yourself into civilian life and gather the key information about the other side and their headquarters base. From what we know now, the other side is using cover to keep their headquarters deep underground. They have been spotted in many locations around the area. Here is the list of the known locations. The other side's headquarters is in one of these locations. It is your job to infiltrate, act like them, talk like them, respond like them, be one of them. It is of utmost importance that you reveal no details about your mission. Stand by for further instructions.
I've just received word the spy master is on the move. He has given his orders and is about to reveal who among you is a spy. I will say it again. You will be given your assignments. Tell no one of what you find. Most of you, as members of the other side, will receive the information on where our headquarters base is located, but you cannot disclose this information. Not everyone knows where we are. I am talking about the sleeper spies. There is no time for training. Here's a list of questions to ask each other. You can think of more, but this is a list of examples. Ask questions like this and listen to their answers. If you believe that someone is a spy, we have our security up there with caution tape. They will be standing there. We need answers with enough information to clear their name. But if they are too vague, send them up. The spies will act like us, look like us, respond like us. Be on your guard.
My spies, I have uncovered a list of questions the other side is seeking to question you with. Use them, ask them as well. Gather all the information that you can. They don't know who to trust, so act like you can be trusted and pull information out of them. Everyone around you is your enemy. Do not reveal your identity. You will be questioned. Do your best to evade detection. Once again, your task is simple. Discover your current location. Ask questions, but remember, anyone can be lied to you. I have attached your mission directives onto your seat.
Check under your seat to find out who has been handpicked for which team. Reveal what you find to no one. Anyone could be a spy. Ask questions to find out who the spies are. When you believe that you have located a spy, take them to the front to stand on the stage. Then go look for new spies. We have security up front to contain them.
My spies, if you are captured, you will be interrogated and questioned around. Say what you need to say to get clear, but do not give no confession. They must not find out who you are and who you are for.
Do not let anyone know where we are. Our location is to be shared with no one. If you are accused and brought to the front, keep your mouth closed. If you are not a spy but you are brought to the front, it's okay. You will have a chance to clear your name. Right now, you have 10 minutes.
You have 10 minutes to discover where the headquarters is. Ask the answer. Get the answers. Ask the questions. If you think you know where the headquarters is, keep it to yourself until I call for you.
9 minutes. Hello. You have 9 minutes remaining. Ask your questions, accuse people, and put them in the front for phase 2. There are so many spies in this room. Get them done. There's 6 minutes left.
Spies continuing with the location. Keep it to yourself. You have 4 minutes.
If we are almost in the last minute. We are in the last minute. If you are a spy, you have probably been accused. If you know the location, keep it under wraps. You will have a chance to reveal it later.
Time is up. You are behind the team. If you are accused, stay. If you have not been accused, take your seat.
All accused people sit on the stage. Go. If you have been accused, sit on the stage. If you have not been accused, sit in a chair in
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. This is so loud. Welcome to phase 2 of questioning. You have no idea how many of these people are spies. If they are not spies, they need to vindicate themselves now. The job is easy and simple. We will pull one up at a time. If you believe they are now vindicated and telling the truth, then we will allow them to come back to the seats. If you believe that they are a spy, they stay and they are fully accused. Found guilty. The first person to accuse, let's go, spy. Here is your question. If you believe that she is telling the truth and she is a citizen, your thumb goes up. If you believe she's lying, the thumb goes down. Question. We'll make it good. What do you see in this place?
Metal.
Thumbs up if you agree. Lights down, please. I can see them all. She is vindicated. Next, let's go, spy. All right. What do you smell in this place?
Dust.
Say it again.
Dust.
Dust. Is that an answer worth vindicating? Wait. Don't willingly walk back under the tape. That already tells me who you are. Go. All right, next, let's go. Here, come on. Here you go. What are you wearing? Be vague enough to not expose the spies. Expose it, but also tell a little truth.
Neon.
Whoa! You are vindicated. Let's go, buddy. Okay. What do you eat here?
The space ice cream.
You are guilty as charged. Let's go. All right. Why are you here?
To work.
Yes, no? All right, you're vindicated. Let's go. Okay. What would your name practically be in this location?
Joe.
Is he?
No, I'm not actually thinking that, what you guys are thinking.
All right, you are guilty as charged. Let's go. No words from the prisoners, please. Here we go. How many pairs of socks did you pack?
4.
What do you think? You are guilty as charged. All right, let's go. We need the yellow thing up here. Where's the yellow slide? All right, here we go. Oh, bro, you about to give this all away if you're not a spy. What do you do here?
Use heavy machinery.
Oh, vindicated. Let's go. I'm going to have 3 girls at once. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Here we go. First one, what do you smell?
I don't know. Metal.
She smells metal. Does metal have a smell? Guilty as charged. What do you pack to eat?
Probably a sandwich.
She's vindicated. Hello. All right, here we go. What do you post on social media here? Oh, but be vague, you might give it away. She has no answer. Guilty. All right, all 4 of you, come up to the front. Here we go. Oh. Shh. Prisoners are not allowed to talk. Here we go. Is it hot or cold here?
Either one.
Either one. Vindicated. All right. Are there rides here?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Vindicated. I mean, guilty. All right. What kind of tape do you use here?
Tape? Duct tape, I guess.
Duct tape? Consensus says guilty. Okay. Where do you sleep here?
I tend to like to go home and sleep.
Home to sleep? Vindicated. All right, let's go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, 5. Line up 2. Hey, chill. You get your chance. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Get under the tape. Are you kidding me? Okay. Here we go. I'm going to ask some of our repeated questions because some of these people couldn't pass the stinking test. Does it smell nice or gross? Don't answer for them, you people, or I'll put you in here.
Nice.
It smells nice. Guilty. All right, here we go, here we go. How many pairs of socks did you bring today?
1 pair.
1 pair. Vindicated. Okay. Thinking of a question. Ooh. What color do you see here? Hey, stop talking.
Lots of yellow.
Yellow. Vindicated. All right, let's see. I haven't talked to you, did I? Okay, come up. You guys, Isaiah, Ethan, let's go. You, let's go. Dalen, let's go. You, let's go. Did I get everybody else over here? Yes, come on up. You're right in the center. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. This is called the fire round. All right, do you come to this place at night or during the day?
During the day.
During the day? Vindicated. All right, what do you pack for lunch? Hey, if you are answering, you exit the game field. I have the blazer on, that means I have the power. What? Tell me please, that sounds like a guilty person. Goodbye. All right, tell me please does not sound good. Here we go. Pastor Caleb, do you have a question up here? Why don't you come up here? I can't think of any more questions.
What do you drive here? I'm going off of it.
A forklift.
Why are you here? I got a job to do. I got a job to do. Use the bathroom, so I gotta do something. Let me use the bathroom. I have to go pee so bad.
There's no time to pee in prison. Sit down. You wet your pants. I'm really sorry. All right, did you have any more? Because I'm...
Okay. What do you smell here?
Rough machinery.
Yeah, he's good. What do you do here?
Work.
Guilty. Are there rides here?
Like,
Are there rides here?
no.
Vindicated.
Okay.
Do you run in this place?
What'd you say?
Do you run in this place?
If you're stupid.
Yes, good answer.
All right, phase 2 has been completed. Spy Master.
You have been tried and found guilty. To all my spies in the room, raise your hand if you are one of us.
Spies in the audience. Oh my gosh, raise your hand. You had one spy. 2.
There you are. I see some of you.
Wait,
Able to keep your cover. I'm proud of you. You have one chance to meet in front and decide one location headquarters that this is in. You have 10 seconds. Go.
Spies, meet me here. If you were a spy, hurry, hurry, hurry. You have 10 seconds. Talk to each other and decide. Where were you? You can put it down. Spies talk, spies talk. 10, 9, 8, 7.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where is their base?
Okay, I need one spokesperson. Decide. No, did you all discuss? Because you're all arguing. Okay, come here. Here we go. If she's wrong, you all win, except the only accused. One spy up here. If she's right, spies win. Where were you?
Construction site.
Oh, done for.
Congratulations. Mission accomplished.
Okay, sit down, sit down. Hey guys, let's go, let's go.
Thank you. I'm not sure.
Hello, hello.
You know, we did have the spies in the Bible. You know, so I guess that is a biblical activity. So.
All right, here we
I
go.
need the rest
Here
of my
we go.
panelists. My rest of my panelists, somewhere in the building, please come back. So
This is what we're gonna do. I would like Rebecca Padgham to join us on the stage. Caleb, Pastor Caleb, join us on the stage. This is a last minute call. All right, we have Isaiah Stutzman, join us on the stage. Nope, they're done. All right, Rhonda Baker, join us on the stage. They're not up here. Okay. Here we go. Come on up. Everyone give a cheer for the panel for this time. Okay. Last one. I'd like Michael. Let's go, Michael. Up on stage. You don't know Michael, but I got to tell you right now, you may have seen some of these people. I'm going to just introduce them really quick. Rebecca Padgham. You had Annabelle up here the first time. This is Mama. Mama of Annabelle. She is so stinking amazing. She's going to have a word. She's going to blow you away. Okay, you've got Isaiah Stutzman. This is my 19-year-old brother. I love this guy. Man, I'm telling you what, he is full of wisdom. It's insane. Okay, Pastor Caleb. Now listen, I don't even know him so super well, but I already love him. He's so stinking cool. You guys got a good youth pastor. All right, Rhonda Baker, I'm telling you what, this woman, I gotta tell you, this woman goes above and beyond in everything. So you know we ask her one question, you're gonna get a load of stuff coming your way. Rhonda Baker. All right, Michael is our security guy. You don't mess with Michael, but we love him a whole stinking lot. And his wife, hey, his wife works the coffee bar, so getting good with Michael, you might get a free coffee one of these times. There we go. All right, and then you know Winnie. You already got to meet Winnie. She is from Victory City in Prosser, so give her a shout out. All right, and then Rich Peacock from Remnant House. You know him. Woo.
Okay, so this is the way we're going to do it. Let me give you a quick instruction to our new panel. So whenever somebody shares something and you want to jump in and share something too, you just go ahead and do that. You don't have to get my permission to do that. Does that make sense? But I will be the one directing and leading the conversation so that we're not here for 16 hours. Please make sure that your question, your answer is concise. So it's not really long and don't draw it out. We're not looking for a sermon. We're looking for an answer. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, here we go. And Rebecca, I'm starting with you. Is that all right? Yeah. So there should be a mic going down to you. Okay, so I might start with you, but then feel free to jump in. Okay, guys? Why? Oh, hold on. Before I say this, by the way, we kind of had a organized of all these topics. We're kind of throwing the topics out because the questions you guys are asking are pretty amazing.
Yep.
They really are. So get ready for this. Why did God test Adam and Eve if he knew they were going to sin? Ooh, wow.
That's a Dan Beal question.
Pardon?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, we're not robots. We weren't made just to be programmed to do functions. We were made to be in a relationship with the Lord. And that's a love relationship with the Lord. And so in order to have a true love relationship, you have to have the ability to choose. So the Lord wanting to have that level of an intimate relationship with us, where we're not his slaves, we're not, he gave you these incredible brains, he gave you these incredible spirits that feel things, he gave us incredible bodies that can, run, do things, play music. He made us to be full of experience, full of interaction. And so with that, he had to take the risk that we get to make choices. And our choices, for a short time, can separate us from him. but not for eternity, because no matter the choices that we make, we can always turn and choose to go back towards him. We can always choose to ask him to come to us in the middle of our choices and our circumstances and lift us out, lead us out. So he did give us the freedom to choose, and it's painful sometimes. Sometimes we wish he'd just be like a parent that doesn't allow a child to make a choice and reap the consequences. He gave us that ability to experience that, but at the same time, he made a way for us to find our way back to him.
So in other words, he gave us free will. Okay, go ahead. Anybody else want to?
I was just going to say the free will thing.
You can't have love without free will.
Can you say that again?
You can't have love without free will.
Okay, so let me ask you the second one then. If there is free will, how does God reach people when we pray for them? Is that okay, Isaiah? If you want to start with this one? You okay? Okay. If there is free will, how does God reach people when we pray for them? So I'm praying for somebody, right? As I'm interpreting this, and God's going to reach them, but how is God going to reach them if they have free will?
Well, I would definitely say something that I think about a lot is that if God knows everything, then why is he then if someone was going to go to hell at the end of their life, why in the world would we go pray for them or anything if God just knew? What's the point? But I think that in the process, in the moment, God is always reaching out to that person. He's always giving them an option to go to him. God's always giving them that option because they have free will. So when we're praying for them, we're praying for that Holy Spirit to hit even harder so that he could just touch them even closer in that manifestation. He could touch them even in a bigger way so that they would turn to him in their free will. So us praying for someone is praying for someone to be brought in their life, whoever that is or whatever that is, someone to be come into their life and then just speak life into them, like Johnny is sowing seeds, and then someone else goes up to them, another evangelist, and talks to the same person. And it's really just they have free will, but we're praying for more to come out of that so that they can choose him with their free will. And that's kind of how I'd explain that.
I also think that God can use our mistakes. So as we're praying for them, and they're, sometimes that's how people just have to learn the hard way. I mean, I know that's me, so the pain and the suffering sometimes from my bad choices, I get tired of that. So God uses that, have you had enough? He's got a better way for us.
When you reach the end of yourself, you find the beginning of him. And I think oftentimes the question is, I prayed for this, why didn't it happen the way I wanted to, or why I wanted to see them saved? But I don't know if you guys know who Ian Bounds is, but he's kind of like a father of prayer. And he has a wonderful statement that prayer does what God can do. And I think we need to be more concerned with, is my prayer working with more, be asking ourselves, how can I partner with heaven to see his will done, and how can I love them well? Because what the change you want to see, when you say, God, I want to see this change in somebody, he'll go, great, I'm going to start with your heart. He always starts with you. So just be concerned with, how is my heart postured to love well?
Fantastic. Okay, here's one I would like as many of you guys to answer as possible, but please make this super practical, okay? And it's okay to be vulnerable. I'll actually start off by that. It says, how do I deal with lust and temptation? Now, I've been very open. Everybody kind of knows that many years ago I struggled with pornography. And 15 years ago, so God really got me free, and I went through Jesus and all these things and got free. But it's weird. I was walking through Walmart yesterday, and all of a sudden, just I walked by somebody, and this crazy sexual thought went through my head. So my immediate reaction is, oh, I'm calling my wife. So I immediately contacted my wife and said, hey, guess what? So this way we're having, I bring it to the light so nothing is hidden. But I don't go around telling everybody, hey, guess what? I have the person that I trust, and I talk to them. So any practical things you can do how to deal with lust and temptation.
And if you don't have a wife, you could just go to your best friend, like my friend Blake here. But yeah, also, I actually struggled with pornography for 9 years, and then I just got free last year, actually, almost exactly a year ago. So that was awesome. But My practical way of dealing with temptation is that when I'm like walking through my work and I see a girl that like doesn't have a lot of clothes on, I'll see that and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'll be like, Lord, I know this is a sexual spirit, and I say no to this temptation right now, and I look towards you, Jesus. I look towards your love, and that's kind of how I do that. So I just say no to the temptation. I recognize that it's a sexual spirit, and then I look over to the Lord and I say yes to his love. So.
Okay, so now I'm going to put my mom hat on. Okay? So, you know, sex was created in marriage for a lot of reasons, making babies. But one of the big vehicles is a form of comfort because of what happens in the brain with the hormones that are released with sexual activity and things with that. And so my encouragement to all of you kids here is that if that's an area where you're struggling, maybe you're struggling with masturbation, maybe you're struggling with looking at pornography, maybe you're struggling with just really loving the chase, and so you want boys to want you or you want girls to want you, and you're flirting and you are wanting that kind of attention and you need that kind of attention, I'm going to challenge you to go to the Lord instead of like trying to control yourself or fixate on I shouldn't be doing this. Go to the Lord and ask the Lord, what is this activity that I'm doing trying to give me false comfort for in my life? Where and on what level do I need to be comforted, seen, and just connected to you, Lord, for just a new kind of comfort that I'm basically, instead of going and eating like a really good healthy meal, I'm choosing to consume junk, and it's not giving me what I need. And you will find that if you let the Lord into some areas where you're hurting, where you haven't received comfort, where you haven't received affirmation, where you feel lonely, you don't feel sought out by your parents, you don't feel pursued. Girls, this is for you. You have never had a dad that has pursued you in a right way and has shown you that you valued. Boys, where you've had a dad who has made sexuality the mark of manhood, okay, versus a culture of honor. And ask the Lord to meet you in those places. And then find somebody that you can trust to talk to that is a spiritual mom or dad. And let them minister into those places and pray with you. And you will find that if you get that wound healed, that sexual sin is not going to have the appeal that it had before. You know, we sometimes just want to control things in our own strength instead of letting God come into the areas that need to be mended so that we actually have a healthy appetite and a value for keeping something in a place that he created it so we can enjoy it later. Sorry for the sermon. Who's next?
So can you read the question again? Can you read the question again? Can you read the question again?
Oh, how do I deal with lust and temptation or temptation?
I think having a value system that places the gift of purity and the gift of sex over your own desires, and actually you enter into a place that Christ did, which is selflessness. If I strive my whole life, I shouldn't say strive, worked my whole life to buy a ring, and it was a perfectly cut diamond, and it was valued, and I carried it with me. I was in the military, so I brought it to war with me. I carried it in my heart, and I finally found the beautiful woman I was given to give it to. What makes it valuable is that I worked to keep it, and it's a perfect thing that I strive to protect. That is your purity. When you make the purity have that much value, you actually value yourself. And you value what the Lord gave you. And so when you have that value system in place, you're able to see my purity and my ability to say no to something. It becomes a lot easier because you've put value in what God put inside of you, which is love, which is to be given to your spouse.
Just something a little practical, just a couple little things. It's really hard to stay pure if you're going to be listening to the popular secular music that's out there. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is beautiful, and there is some, it's not all completely bad, but a lot of it is just very sex driven, and it's not about just a monogamous relationship. So, and then TV, everything, you're just bombarded. So it's very hard. So I've kind of just stepped back from that, because if you're just going to bathe yourself in that all day, and you know, and that's what's going to be in your mind all the time, well, of course you're going to lean that way, I think.
I think for me, I didn't really struggle too much with this. Mine would be more of coming from an alcoholism standpoint, which I think they're the same things. They're both temptations. I think for me, it was when you're giving into sin, you're basically giving a spirit permission to come into your life. And I know, like, when Jesus was in the desert and Satan came to him and tempted him, the first thing he did was quote scripture to him. And I think for me, when I come into those situations, I just have a couple scriptures in my mind that I'll speak under my breath or out loud, and I can just move past it. And it just releases that spirit from trying to want to come in and just do damage, because that's what they're trying to do. So.
So, with all others saying, I just want to finish with don't kid yourself. If you know you are struggling with something and you know that is your weak side, run away from it. It's that simple. The word says that if your right hand is going to cause you to sin, cut it off. If being on TikTok is going to cause you to sin because you see half naked chicks all the time, cut it off. That's it. You cannot sit here and be like, Lord Jesus, help me get rid of this. You're still in it. Because you're telling yourself, I'm good enough to be on TikTok and I'm going to be okay. And before you know it, you're back where you're trying to get out of. So, yes, have an accountable person that's going to be behind you and be like, smack you upside the head and be like, bro, you need to stop doing that. Because it doesn't matter. Listen, it does not matter how many times you come to the altar and ask God for freedom when you get up and go back and do the same thing. It's that simple. If it's going to cause you to stumble and you know this before you even get there, don't even go that way. And it's not just with sexual sin, it's with everything. Like he said, alcoholism. It doesn't matter what it is. If you know that going to Safeway is going to mess you up because the girl next door looks hot, don't go that way. Go the other way.
Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
Blake, I need your permission. Can I share this? All right. Now, it's not about you. It's about us. It's about us. Okay, yeah. So me and Blake would actually in the past, this is just a quick thing, we'd be watching like anime, and there's a lot of like lewd sexual things in anime, and we'd be watching anime and we'd literally laugh about it. But this is like a couple years back in high school, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, bro, we're standing in the fire and we're like trying not to get burned, and that's the way we would take that. So we'd watch anime and then we'd fall into like pornography, and it was like the horrible thing, but we literally knew that we were standing in the fire and getting burned. So don't stand in the fire if you don't want to get burned.
Yes.
Yep. And also, so if you ever if you are struggling and you came and you repented and you're finding yourself stuck in it, please come and find one of the leaders either in your church or here, and let it talk to us, because we have ways to help you to break that cycle. Because I mean, I repented and then I fell back into it. And then I repented, and years later I fell back into it. And until I finally dealt with those deep root issues in my life, that actually is what broke me free.
Yep.
Okay, so let's moving on to topic. Actually, I'm going to connect two questions together. In worship, why do people go to the front, lift their hands, and get on their knees? And that's connected to, so why does the way we worship matter?
So there's there's a lot of ways to worship. One of the reasons why people come to the altar and to the front, and I like saying this example, there's been times where I've gone to churches and they do an altar call for, ¿cómo se llama? Para que acepten a Cristo.
Come to Jesus.
To come to Jesus, right? I've been come to Jesus a long time ago. I'm one of Jesus' kids, but I do not care. You're gonna see me go in there the first time. I'm gonna be the first person up there, not because I need saving from like whatever, but because I want to be in His presence. Because I just want to pour everything that I have to Him, and it's a form of surrender. It's a form of just laying it all out. You know how sometimes you go through hard times and troubles and tribulations, and then you end up calling your friend and be like, hey, this is what's going on, and I don't know what to do, and I need help. And then on the other side, they're like, oh yeah, sure, do this. So it's kind of like the same thing when you come and people lift their hands. One part, and the other part is just to give Him everything. A lot of times we just worship and adoración because we want to give Him the praise, because we want to give Him the glory, because out of all the things that are going on, He's the only worthy of everything, and He's the only one that makes sense. So we give Him everything because He is worthy of everything. And it matters. It matters why you worship, because I've gone to places and I've gone to churches where they don't even lift their hands. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, are you alive, bro? Like, something happens when we worship. Algo se rompe en la atmósfera cuando uno alaba a Dios. Something breaks in the atmospheres when you worship God. When you truly worship God, honestly, guys, when you truly worship God, it's not just about him healing you. It's about him healing other people around you. I've seen people be freed through worship. I've seen people be healed through worship. And this is just worship. This is not even someone going and laying hands on a person. No, because what you do in worship, it matters. How you worship matters, because it has the power to break strongholds. And not just any stronghold, but like strongholds where the enemy has had you there for years and heal. So this is one of the many reasons why people come down to the altar and pray, because they want to see. Go ahead, sorry.
And I want to comment just real quickly. But this is actually more of a word for you guys that ties into this for this conference. This is an encouragement, an exhortation. Exhortation is take action. Okay, so opening night, before we all got started, the Lord had me do about 15, 20-minute walk around this room, just praying in my prayer language. Just praying over the room. And Pastor Manny was in here praying like flat on his face back there on one of those chairs. And as I'm walking through the room, the Lord starts talking to me about, there's a story in the Bible about this pool where at a certain part of the day, the angel of the Lord would come down and stir the waters of the pool. And so Pastor Manny actually mentioned that this morning. And the goal is if you needed healing, to be as close as possible to get in that water, to basically compete for that little short window of healing time that was available and to roll in. And so the Lord showed me that this sanctuary was like the pool of Bethesda. And then you just look, I realize these are pathways, but if you look at the pattern that somebody took a lot of time to put on the floor, it's almost like a whirlpool current, kind of going on in here. And so I felt like the Lord told me that he wants to stir this place like the pools of Bethesda, because he wants to give you guys healing, and he wants to touch you this weekend. And so then the next thing he showed me, and maybe all of you guys can relate to this, because maybe some of you have actually been to a wave pool, but usually a wave pool actually has a shape very similar to what this room is shaped like. And so what do you guys do when you're in a wave pool? You're going to go to one end of it, right? Because you want to feel when the power releases and lifts you, and it takes you to the back, and then you're going to run right back into it. And then he just kind of showed me, like, this is the zone right here. So if you want to play in the wave pool, if you want to have encounter with him, and boy, he wants to play with you. He's a very good father. He wants to be, like, jump in the pool and catch me, daddy. Like, that is what the Lord wants to do with you guys this weekend. Don't be afraid to come down here, because this is where the wave releases. And the Lord he is in... It's not a one-sided affair with him. When we take action, when we move towards him, he moves towards us. He moved towards us. So don't play hard to get. Sit in your seat. Lord, you got to prove this to me. Come running. Come running with expectation.
Okay, so I have another question here.
Can I say something real quick, please? It's really fast.
Go.
There are no pastors in heaven. We don't practice church, we practice heaven. So why do we go to the front like this? Is because you are practicing what you're going to do for eternity. Woo! Set your heart as a worshiper. Don't focus on the pastor. Those are offices from Jesus, yes. But you will always, forever and ever be a worshiper.
Yep.
Okay, here's another question. What do you do when you are dating an atheist?
Break up.
In the real sense, you shouldn't be dating an atheist, actually. So if you're dating an atheist, you should...
So, but what happens if this goes on? What happens if I just got saved, and the guy or the gal I've been dating with have been an atheist? Sometimes it's not just as easy as just breaking up. You know what I mean?
Are you married?
Yes.
To Jesus?
No, my wife.
Not you. When you're dating, you are married, you are the bride of Christ first. You put Christ at the shrine of your heart. There's a reason that Abraham was required to put Isaac on the altar. The promise of Isaac was at the shrine of his heart. When you come to Jesus and you say, I make you my only yes, even the person you're dating, Jesus says, you should, compared to how much you love me, you should hate your father and your mother. Okay, those are the weighty words of Jesus. So when you come to Christ and you're with somebody, you can still love them, you can see the gold in them, and you can call it out. But to enter into a relationship that is a premarital relationship is not wise. That's what I'll say on that.
Yeah, because when you're dating, you are actually, just like he just said, when you're dating, you're getting ready for marriage. There's no dating in the Bible, but when you're in that relationship, you're in the premarital relationship. So you don't want to be in that relationship with someone like that is atheist, but I think breaking up and then praying for them would be like the best option. Boundaries.
Yeah. Do you have something to say about that?
It's talked about in the Old Testament too, but God warned his people not to, marry, because you're going to start adapting to what they're doing. You think you're going to affect them, but they can also affect you. So you can start taking on some of their customs that aren't godly.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be unevenly yoked, because at the end of the day, you're going to be very unsatisfied. Yeah. I mean, you might be in the honeymoon phase of it, but this is lifetime. You marry for a lifetime. So yeah, you'll just be unhappy. So don't do it.
Okay, so here I have the last question. Michael, could you start answering this one, please, if you don't mind? How do you let God love you? Michael might not like me after this. Do you want somebody else to go first and then come back to you? Are you thinking about it?
Michael's got this.
Okay.
It's like Michael's
It's called pressure cooker for a reason, right?
This is in his wheelhouse.
It's like this question is like so easy, but it's so hard at the same time. I really, I guess I could give you guys my testimony, because
awesome.
I mean that's about what it is. I grew up with an alcoholic father in a broken home. Me and my brother and sister, my mom had us in church, but there was just a lot of trauma and a lot of soul ties and a lot of things. I was baptized at the age of, I was 11 years old, and the way I got to church was, believe it or not, they used to do this back in the day, but a van would come around from a church and they would pick you up for church. You get in a random van and just take off. Mom didn't care, my dad didn't care. I was going to church though, thank the good Lord. Just all the trauma that I had in my life, I remember they all got us in a room and, hey, who wants to be baptized? And they all had us put our heads down, and I remember just looking down at the floor, and it was just like a hole had opened up underneath me. And just this warming, the most warming sensation that you could ever feel. And I didn't know what it was at the time till later on in life, but it was definitely the Holy Spirit on me at that very moment. I got baptized, and then after that, it was, I still struggled. I didn't struggle as much because I knew the Lord. With my wife now, we've been together since we were freshmen in high school. We've been together. We've been in churches, trying to raise a family together. And I know, like a lot of where some of you guys are at in this room, I can tell you right now, without the love of the Father, from the day that I gave myself to the Lord, I would not be sitting here talking to all you kids. So it's amazing.
Can you repeat the question?
How do you let God love you?
So
30 seconds.
Can you fall in love with somebody that you don't know? Oh, you can be attracted to him. You can have the hots for him. But falling in love is also part of knowing somebody. So my encouragement to you, if you're that person that you're like, yeah, I don't know, I have all these ideas about what God's love is and it doesn't sound fun, I'd encourage you not to focus so much on that, but just ask the Father, let me know you. Show yourself to me. What do I not know about you? Show me who you are. Because the character of the Father, the beauty of Jesus, it is irresistible. It is irresistible. It is the most beautifulest thing ever. So just take time to get to know. God knows us inside and out. But what's crazy is that he wants to take the time for us to get to know him. He doesn't say, just take me at my word. You don't need to know my intentions. You don't need to see my heart. You don't need to have manifestations of my love. You don't need anything from me. You just need to take me at my word. No, he's like, come on, come close. Because I want to give you something. I want to show you who I am and who I want to be for you in all your situations. So if you're struggling with that, I don't really know if I want to be in a love relationship with you, Lord. Take some time to get to know him. Just make that space. And then watch what his love does.
Okay, then Whitney, want to finish yourself?
It is hard. You were talking about trauma and stuff like that. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys. It is extremely hard to have anyone love you and accept that love from anyone because, one, you feel unworthy. Two, how the heck can they love me? Three, the person that's supposed to love me has never loved me. So we have this idea of love. We have love so corrupted because we start to see it through the eyes of the things that have hurt us. So it's so much harder for us to allow God to love us because we cannot see anything past the things that have shaped us into a corrupted type of love. And it's really, really hard, and I know this personally, it's really, really hard to allow God to love you because love has been corrupted and messed up, right? So you find yourself wrestling constantly. I find myself still this day wrestling God. It's like, Lord, I know you love me, but that this is way too good. Like, there's no way you love me this good. There's no way you love me this much. And then before I know it, I'm kind of just backing away from it because how can the God of the universe, this perfect, this amazing God love me? How can he possibly love me if my father didn't love me? If my mother didn't love me and they're supposed to die for me, they didn't even care if I had shoes. How can this God love me this much? So then you have this hard time trying to surrender to him and surrender your heart because you're afraid that he's gonna mess it up. It sounds really messed up, but that's really the core of it. We need, I'm talking to myself as well, to completely and fully and absolutely trust that God is not gonna do the same thing that everybody else has done to us. We need to trust that God has cared for you since your mother's womb and he's gonna care for you now. We need to surrender and fully say, you know what, God, just like the father that went to Jesus and said, Lord, I know that you can do it, but I need you to help me believe that you could do it for me. Sometimes doubt gets in the way of allowing God to love us in such a way because we don't see that for ourselves. So you need to be honest with him and say, Lord, I know that you want to love me, and I even know that you love me, but I need you to help me trust that you do. I need you to help me trust that you're going to love me and that you're never going to leave me, even though they tell me this all the time, because we hear it all the time. We hear that God is never going to leave you and he's never going to forsake you, but we really got to let him and be honest with him. It's like, Lord, I'm going to surrender this part of my heart to you and help and let me trust you that you're going to love me well.
And then just last little thing, I think identity. I think in order to receive the love from God, you have to know your own identity. You have to know that all of you in this room, every one of us, me included, we are all daughters or sons of God. And he loves all of us as his children, as the perfect Father. So identity.
Awesome. So thank you for your amazing questions, guys. That was actually all you. So thank you very much. Thank you, our panelists. Our Part B panelists and our Part A panelists. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Abby?
Okay, so hey, I'll take